And I hope everyone's doing okay. We're so excited to have you here tonight, and we look forward to just talking and getting ready for the school year. But we'll get the interpretation ironed out. We're one big family, so we want to make sure everyone can hear what is going on. This is an exciting time, and we have mostly sixth grade parents here tonight. So all of you are starting this journey with us. And we want to make sure that you can hear what's being said today. So just bear with us as we get everyone set up.
I do hear the Spanish is working. I can hear it. There's somebody else in the room here, and I can hear the Spanish working.
Okay. All right. Do we want to check on the Vietnamese sound?
Let's see if I can get it. See if I can get her on the screen here. Oh.
Hi, Ms. Gonzalez. I see you're one of the few faces I can see. I was saying hola. Hi, Ms. Gonzalez.
So, Miss T, would you give us a thumbs up if you can tell if your interpretation is working on your end?
I think it is because she's speaking, but I can't hear her.
Mm-hmm. Apparently so. And we usually will have a lot more people in the Spanish channel versus the Vietnamese channel, so it's we won't have that many people to ask typically about the Vietnamese channel. I think she's clapping, which means a yes to me. Ms. T, is that correct?
So the globe icon for interpretation, I don't see that. So what is the new direction? Because I don't see how they.
It's the same one. I see it on my screen. I'm not sure why it's not there on your screen. Maybe it's because I don't know why you don't see it on your screen.
Okay. Well, as long as our families can get to it. All right. Well, if you feel like we're ready, we can go ahead and get started. We want to make sure we have enough time before our next group begins. Hello. Thank you for being here. I am Dr. Irish. I am the proud and excited principal of Lilburn Middle School. And so those who have had other children with us, you know me, you know that we have these monthly family meetings where we talk to our parents and we just kind of help make sure that you have answers for questions, updated information. We do a newsletter once a week, but we also do this version because some people just want to talk to you. And so we don't want to have it where you have questions, but you have no way of reaching out to the school. So just count on every month there being a workshop just like this, where we will give you a little bit of information, but we will also spend time answering questions, or we will sometimes have parents showing you different tips on how to make sure that you are raising your children as successfully as you can. So with that being said, I am excited. I do see some of our administrators also on this call. Some are directly related to sixth grade and some are loosely related to sixth grade, but we all work together. So I'm going to pause here, and any administrators who are here, if you could also introduce yourself. And then Mr. Doyne, if you could introduce yourself formally. I know you've been welcoming people into the call, but let's go ahead and just see who we have here from Lilburn on this call.
Well, hey, parents and students. I'm Winnelie Fertney. I am one of the sixth grade assistant principals, and I'm very, very excited to start this new year with your student. We're going to have a great year.
And just a little later, families, you will hear from Ms. Fertney. She's going to talk to us about open house. We have a very sophisticated open house process that we are so excited to explain to you how it's going to work. All right. And Miss Dr. Burney, I see you there as well.
Hey there, I'm borrowing Miss, oops, wait a minute, let's not do an echo. I am borrowing Miss Fertney's window right now because we're having technical difficulties, but my name is Dr. Burney. Last year was 8th grade assistant principal, and so this year I'll be serving as discipline coordinator and over buses and whatever things, positive behavior interventions and support. So there's a lot on the plate, but I'm happy to work with you all as well. Thank you.
Welcome, Dr. Burney. And I see Mr. Brogdon, new to the admin team here at Lilburn, but he is also on the call, so you can unmute and say hello.
Hi, parents. I'm Mr. Zach Brogdon. As Dr. Iyer said, I'm new to the team. I will be in 8th grade. Can't wait to work with everybody. Can't wait to learn and be a part of this team and community.
Okay, and I don't see any other faces, but I think Miss Fowler's with you all, and Miss Cooks may be on here as well. But if I'm missing any other admin, please just unmute and say hello. All right, Mr. Doyne, do you want to formally introduce yourself too? I know you will later as well.
Sure, yeah, thank you. I'm Michael Doyne, and I work here in the Parent Center at Lilburn Middle School. Just really glad that to see all of you here, and I'm really proud that our principal and our leadership team logs in for these meetings on a monthly basis. I think it's just a great opportunity for us to interact with our families and vice versa. And also just wanted to add, I think some people are still having trouble with the interpretation. So I'm going to explain that in English and Spanish real quick. So to find the interpretation, if you want to listen in Spanish or Vietnamese, you'll look for the globe icon if you can see it on your screen. And then from there, you can select the language that you would like to listen to. If you're also hearing the English at the same time, there is a way to silence the original audio on your options. Entonces, si quiere escuchar esta reunión en español o vietnamita, hay que buscar el globo o el mundo en su pantalla y después va a seleccionar español o vietnamita para escuchar esta reunión en el idioma preferido. Y también puede bajar el volumen del inglés para que solo escuche en su idioma. Y gracias por estar con nosotros. Thank you for being with us.
Okay, and so thank you, Mr. Doyne. Hopefully everyone can find their way. If you are having trouble, just in the chat, type a message to Mr. Doyne and let him know I still can't hear anything or I don't know how to find my way. We will make sure you get to where you need to go. So we are excited. I saw the poll and most of our families are parents of 6th grade students, but I did notice that we have some families who are of other grade levels. So what I will say is that we're going to branch out this year and do some specific conversations for grade level families. This one, it's okay if you're in the wrong call. If you got mixed up and you're here and you should really be in the 6 o'clock call, it's okay. It's pretty much going to be the same information. You may hear questions from families about 6th grade. Otherwise, you're okay to stay on this call with us today. How many people have a 6th grader and an 8th grader and or a 7th grader as well? You have more than one child in that will be joining Lilburn Middle School next year. Just curious. And you can just raise your hand in your camera. I'm just wondering. All right, and so I do see a few hands raised. So whether you have one or you have several children, we want to make sure that your year is as smooth as possible. I'm going to ask that if you have access to annotation, that you just kind of be mindful that sometimes when you move your mouse, it may make marks on the screen. I've been erasing them, but just maybe don't do that so everyone can see like what's going on. Okay, so we always start every meeting with a quick warm opening. Today's warm opening is that I'm asking all of you to help me and help our leadership team and teachers to help your child have a great positive start to the school year. So we're going to start a little quick activity. I'm going to ask you to grab a piece of paper and we're going to write a quick, short, positive note to our child, just wishing them the best school year ever. Now, sometimes when we get to middle school, the thinking is that you're just, too old for that, or, you've outgrown all of that. Our middle school kids love encouragement, and any middle school child who's on this call, you can nod and agree. We all love to be encouraged, even adults. So let's grab a piece of paper. Let's choose our 6th grader because this is our 6th grade call. If you have twins or multiples, then you'll have to write more than one. But we want to just write a really quick 1 or 2 sentence note encouraging our students. Just we believe in them and we are so excited for them to have a positive year. And coming from you in your handwriting, that's going to mean a lot to them. So let's just take a few seconds and write a note to our student. Okay, so it looks like some are still writing, but some are looking at the camera, so we may be finished. And if you don't have paper and you want to take care of this activity later, that's okay. But we call this just a really quick, powerful message. And that's what we're going to give to our students. Let me share mine with you. I don't have sixth grade students, but I do have 2 sixth grade APs. So I wrote mine to Miss Furtney and Miss Fowler, and I put, Dear Mrs. Furtney and Dear Miss Furtney and Mrs. Fowler, I believe in you and you're going to have the best year ever. Stay positive. Love, Dr. Irish. So just that quick, we're going to lift them up and we're going to just make sure that they have a positive day. Not many middle school children bring lunch boxes, so that's really hard to put it in a lunch box. But guess what? If they look in that bag or that Chromebook bag and they see that note, they're not going to tell you, but it's going to mean a lot to them. Okay, so just encouraging you to do that. That is our warm opening. If you didn't do it now, please take care of it before tonight's over and save it for that first day of school. All right, so we're a little jammed up here on this PowerPoint. Just give me 1 second to move the slides. There we go. Okay, so we still, Mr. Doyne, if you could turn off annotations, it looks like we still have some writing happening on the slides. I don't know how to turn it off while I'm doing this, but that would, I think, help. All right, so welcome back to a new school year. Every year at Lilburn Middle School, we have a theme. And the theme helps us to center our students. It helps us to focus on one thing all together as a staff and student and community. And our theme for this year is impact. So we are focused on the impact that we're having with our students and that our students have on each other and themselves. So we're going to be talking a lot with our students about their impact, that they have a role not only in our school, but in the community that they live in, and to think about the impact that they're having on those around them, starting with being the best version of themselves. So you're going to hear the word impact being used. You're going to hear us talking about, and it looks like Anna or Ariana. Anna Ariana, if you could just help me with the writing. Someone is writing. If you can stop them from doing that. Thank you. But we're going to be focused on impact. All right, so tonight we will play a game while we go through our slides. Like I said, there's a lot of important information that we're going to share, but we will be playing a game while we go through the information. So the game is really easy and anyone can play this game. So the way the game works is that this lock that you see on the screen, the clue. So when you see this lock, it's going to tell you that there is a clue on that screen. And you're going to keep track of the clues that you find. At the very end, I'm going to ask you if anyone is able to unlock the secret word. And so that means you've got to pay attention throughout, because if you miss one of the slides, you're not going to be able to unlock it. If any of our parents have played bingo, I don't know if you're familiar with bingo, but when you get bingo, you just kind of say bingo. There's going to be a point where I'm going to ask you, is anyone able to unlock the clue? And if you have all the pieces, then you will have the correct code. And we always play games every month when we meet. And so if the first person, we don't have a prize for everyone. And tonight's one is pretty easy. So I think a lot of people will figure it out. But the first 3 families or adults, parents, guardians, whoever you are representing our students, you have a chance to win just by being on this call. Okay, so you're going to look for a letter that goes along with the lock. It's going to be right near it. You're going to collect those letters, and then at the end of it, it will spell a word. And so to know you have it correctly, you will have the right word. All right. Does that make sense? And I'm looking at Mr. Brogdon and Ms. Fertney because I can see their faces. That seem like it's clear? All right, so let's get started. So first of all, what will our school year look like this year? So in 6th grade, there is a big difference, as you heard in the spring. Middle school is different than elementary school because our students move more than they do in elementary school. They are working with more adults than they work with at the elementary school. So that means that we're getting them ready for high school, where you have a different course leader for every course you have, and you have different expectations in every classroom. So in 6th grade, they're starting to practice the skill of moving at the end of every period and working with a different adult. We do have a small group of students that this may not apply to. For example, if they're in a special program, this may not be the case. If they are on a 2-man team, meaning they have 2 teachers instead of 4, then this may not be the case. But I would say the majority of our students move at the end of every period, and they are working with multiple adults. In middle school, we realize that the courses are more difficult, so we do offer intervention classes. So you're going to notice that if your student, if the information that we received from the elementary school told us that your student needs help academically, we will offer them an intervention class to help with that. We also offer tutoring free of charge. If you have ever taken your child to tutoring outside of school, you'll know that it's not cheap. It's very expensive. And so we encourage families to take advantage of that. And what we notice, and I know Ms. Fertney, Dr. Burney, and Mr. Brogdon can tell you, we don't see many families coming through to take advantage of that. And every week I'm like, come on, families, because this is a free resource that is being taught by the teacher of the students that, or the teacher of the student you have. And so they can work individually with your child. They can work in a small group outside of the classroom, because during the classroom, they're really moving fast. They're just trying to get through the lesson as fast as they can and get as much information out. But during tutoring, they can slow down. They can work on specific things. It's free of charge. We do publish, and it is in the student handbook, and it will also be on our website, the tutoring days and times. And so we used to require a pass. We don't require a pass. So really, if you drop your student off, they can come for tutoring free of charge with the teacher they have. And we encourage parents to follow up. If you're dropping your child off for tutoring, every now and then just reach out to the teacher and say, hey, you know, I'm dropping my child off. How is tutoring going? Or are they coming to tutoring? Because some students will kind of, you know, wander around or do something else that they prefer to do instead. So you want to make sure they are actually going to tutoring and taking advantage of that. So during the school day, we have something called SEL moments. We oftentimes hear from our rising 6th grade families that you're nervous about bullying, you're nervous about stress, you're nervous about how they're going to be coping with middle school. Well, we're not nervous about it, but we are mindful that middle school is a very challenging time. It's a very important time, and it's a very quick time because it's only 3 years, and so we don't have them for a long time. But a lot of changes happen in middle school. So what we do is we offer something that we call the SEL moment. So that stands for social emotional learning moment. That happens for the first 20 minutes of every school day. So when we talk about letting our kids be on time for school, make sure they're here on time, it's because we have a lot of good stuff right in the beginning of the school day that we don't want them to miss. So the SEL moment, we talk about important topics like vaping or bullying or conflict resolution or peer pressure, things that we are all worried about as adults. We talk to our students about during that time. But we also talk about goal setting, how to be a top scholar. We talk about what else, Fertney? Chime in, or Dr. Burney, chime in on some of the time. We talk about everything during the SEL moment. Yes,
We talk about making and keeping friends, being safe on the internet
yes.
safety, the dangers of vaping. Talk about all kinds of things.
Yes. So all of those topics are really important. And so we talk about those things with our students. We do it school-wide, so it is virtual. We have different people who host different lessons, so they're not hearing from the same person every time. But our counseling team does lead that. So it is, supported and developed by trained counselors who understand student development. So we do have a lot of help with developing these lessons, but all students participate in the SEL moment every day. We do offer personalized student support. So if your child is not where you would want them to be or where we think they should be, meaning that they're performing academically below grade level, we do have some different things that we can do to help them. So during ELT, which happens right after the SEL moment, some students go to a different class off team that is focused on math or reading. And we also offer things during connections, and we have other things that happen outside of school hours, but we do look at students' data when they take the assessments. We look how they perform on the assessments, and we try to make a decision to make sure that we are supporting them to the best of our ability. We have many opportunities to communicate. We'll talk about that later on. But I did want to mention that there are many enrichment activities and clubs that we are asking for every student to get involved with at least one. Many of them, there are no charges, no fees, or all there is a time commitment from your student and you, because you may have to transport them outside of school hours. But we do ask for every middle school student at Lowborough Middle School to pick at least one club or one activity that they will stick with for the entire school year. All right, and so I'm going to ask one of our other support people. I'm looking at Mr. Doyne because he hosts a few of our clubs and activities. What might be a reason that we're asking all students to join a club or activity?
Oh, you've asked a great question, Dr. Irish. There are so many reasons, but I'll give one. The students that are that join a club feel more connected to the school and therefore are more motivated about coming to school.
Absolutely. And so, middle school, what we notice, what we hear from families a lot is that they seem like they don't really care about anything. They seem like they don't like to do anything. Clubs and activities are a great way to really counteract that. Because of where they are developmentally, you can't erase it completely, but you could get them a little bit more excited about things by choosing something that they're interested in. And the way to do that is to find some key activities and plug them in. Sometimes they don't know like what they're interested in. And so you may have to explore a few until you find the one that really is a good match. But I think last year we had over 30. So there's something for everyone. If your child is into theater arts, there's a drama club. If they're into robotics and STEM, we have a STEM club. If they're interested in sports and athletics, we have a variety of athletics that we're offering this year. I know many of you are familiar with basketball, but we actually have many sports that we're going to be offering this coming school year. So we're just asking to pick one. Some of our kids are involved with many, but just have them pick one. If they can't pick one, then you pick one that you liked and nudge them into that. And from there, we can help guide them to where their interest lies. But we just notice that they're better students, they're better citizens when they're connected to the school. All right, so we are looking forward to open house. Ms. Fertney, I'm sorry, there's some decorations going on the slides, but the information is here and you can jump in here about open house.
And I'm sorry, Dr. Irish, before we do that, I think we're thinking that since you're sharing the screen, you might have the only option to take off the annotation. That's the best we could figure out.
Okay, I'm removing it as fast as I can, but it looks like we have some artists going on.
And I don't know what to tell you about turning off the option to annotate to begin with.
Okay, all right, there we go.
Okay, parents and students, I'm so excited for open house. Okay, so this is an opportunity where you all will get to meet your teachers, get to see the classrooms, get to see the school. Yes, sixth graders, will be one of your first times being at Lilburn Middle School. But don't worry, we are very organized. We have procedures in place to make sure that this is a great event. One way that you guys can help this event be great is to make sure that when you receive your open house letter in the mail, that you read it and bring it to open house with you, okay? This open house letter will have your student's name, their teacher's name, and a color. Now, this color will help you find your teacher's classroom. It will make sense when you get here, okay? So please, when you get your open house letter, they're in the mail, they should be getting to you soon. You want to open it, read all the directions, and then look for your student's teacher and the color, okay? It'll be red, blue, green, orange, it'll be a color, okay? Also on the open house letter, we have included parking maps. One suggestion that we got from last year was that we needed more instructions for parking. And so we took your suggestions, and we're going to make sure that that's more organized this year. But I also wanted to give you parking maps on the letter. So you can see on the parking map for sixth grade, you guys will be parking in the back of the school, okay? And if you forget it, it's okay. The letter will tell you, okay? You park behind Lilburn Middle School, not in the front, okay? But yeah, so open house is going to be a great experience. We have a lot of fun activities planned. You can see on the screen, you'll have an opportunity to take pictures with your family at our photo booth. You have an opportunity to learn more about clubs and lots of organizations that are here to support students and families. Let's see, what else? I'm trying to think. Oh, one very important thing, and Dr. Irish, is that QR code on a slide coming up? Awesome. Okay, cool. And so one thing that we're really asking you guys to help us with is there's something you can do before open house that will really, help the day go better. And so in the next slide, we're going to show a QR code. And if you want to scan that code and go ahead and fill out your free and reduced lunch form, that will just, it's one less thing you have to do on open house. Okay, I see in the chat, letters will be sent through el correo, like not email. So each letter is personalized. And the only way we could do that is sending it through the mail. So check your mailbox. If you don't get a letter for some reason, maybe you moved, you can call the school and we can get you that information, okay? Please look on the screen, guys, to see when you should come to open house. So if your last name is A through D, you come between 10 and 11. E through L, you can arrive at 10:45. M through Q arrives at 11:30. And then R through Z begins at 12:30. Now, if you have multiple children at Lilburn, then choose the time that best works with you guys. If you have elementary schoolers or high schoolers, just come when you can, okay? But we're asking that if you only have a middle schooler, please come on the times listed. Again, we are just so very excited. This is a big event. It's our first event back to school, and so we can't wait to meet you guys and start the new year.
Awesome. And Ms. Fertney, you published all of the forms that need to be completed. So if families complete them earlier than open house would be a much, much, much better experience for them, right? Okay.
It'll just be less stressful, less to do.
Less stressful.
You can just,
okay.
So, and there's one question in the chat. Let me see, just to answer it. Yes, so if you came to Lilburn Elementary School or Nesbitt or any elementary school, you still want to bring that open house letter. It's just going to help you remember your teacher's name and your color. So yeah, we just want to ask you to bring the letter. Okay, thank you guys.
Okay, awesome. And it went really well last year. We heard a lot of great feedback from our families. So we're doing the same plan as last year. So we're looking forward to it. Can't wait. Okay, so here are some key dates. I think a good way of approaching this slide is just to take a picture. That way you don't have to write it down or remember. But we do have some key dates coming up. September 16th, we're asking for all of your forms. You're going to hear a lot of reminders through email or social media and other ways, just of the forms that we need from you. There are some forms, as you know, if you have sixth graders, every year there's forms, but we're asking for them to be completed by September 16th. Now, last year, and I did keep APTT up here, but we actually are naming this event something different. But we changed the way that we're doing our curriculum night. As you remember, curriculum night, you come in and we talk about the content and syllabus and all of that. What we found is that it worked much better when we're actually talking about your child. So we changed the format last year. This year, we're calling this event, that's the second item there, we're calling it Family Academic Night or FAN. And so what we're going to be doing during that night, which you'll hear a little bit more about later, is that we will be going over your child's academic data and giving you strategies to help them at home, which seems to be a little bit better than just talking about, well, what happens in this class? Because by the time it hits September 25th, you already know the expectations of that class. The teacher has already talked to your student. So we found that it's much more a better use of your time to talk about your child during that night. So we're excited. It worked really well last year. If you've not experienced one of those evenings before, then we ask you to come on time. We ask you to just be prepared and be as positive as possible on that night. Then we send home progress reports. We were doing them once every 4.5 weeks last year. We heard feedback from parents that they wanted more frequent feedback about children's progress. So we're doing it every 2 weeks this year. So the first one will go home on September 12th. And then every 2 weeks thereafter, you'll get a progress report home. Okay. All right, here's the slide that Ms. Fertney was referencing. It's all about lunch. So there's a very important date of September 16th. And the reason why that date is important is because if your child received free or reduced lunch last school year, it will roll over for the start of the school year, but it cuts off on September 16th. So we have some times where we miss that date and then our students go to get lunch and then they're surprised that they're getting fully charged for lunch. And, you know, it really does add up. So we're asking all families, whether you receive free and reduced lunch forms or in the past or not, to go ahead and complete the free and reduced lunch form. The only exception is that we do have some families that receive support through Medicaid or other outside services that rolls over into the school system. Dawn, you can jump in if there's an easier way for them to know, because some families may not know if they fall in that category or not. But there are some that if you receive outside help for your family, that you may automatically be eligible for free or reduced lunch. But to be on the safe side, we're just going ahead and asking all families just to go ahead and complete the form unless we notify you that you don't need to. And the prices are below. So it looks like there has been an increase in the cost of lunch. So students between 6th through 8th grade, which is in the kindergarten through 12th grade category, breakfast is now $1.75. And middle school lunch is now $2.75. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you multiply that times 180 days of school, that's a lot. So if you're eligible for free and reduced lunch, it is something that is available to you, and we're encouraging you to go ahead and fill out the application. It's a really easy application. You can do it online, and in fact, it is open now, right, Ms. Fertney? So they can scan that. You can scan with your phone that QR code and actually do it while you're listening in on this call tonight. And that will actually help make open house easier because that's one less thing that you would have to do. Okay, do we have any questions about free and reduced lunch or anyone who helps with this process? Do you need to say anything?
Mr. Khan has been doing a great job answering questions in the chat, but he also put the link in the chat. If that's better for people, they can click on the link for the application as well, or the QR code that you posted. Okay. And I will say that as a school, that we are considered a Title I school, and that's because we receive funding because of the percentage of families that receive free and reduced lunch who we serve. So a lot of the extra help that I spoke of earlier, some of the resources that we have is directly connected to folks filling out the free and reduced lunch application. So if you're not eligible, that's fine. But we do want to make sure that if you are eligible and you're not opposed to it, that you fill it out so that we can make sure that you're not racking up lunch charges
but that also our school can receive support in other ways. All right, and if everyone has that QR code, I can move to the next slide. I don't know if anyone needs me to wait any longer, but the link is also in the chat. Okay, so some updates and reminders. A lot of you are reaching out and asking about supplies and devices. We did take them back from students in the spring, so we will give them back. And we plan to give back the device that your student had last spring. So we will give these devices back within the first 3 days of school. If you are worried about them completing work or assignments, our teachers are working around the fact that students don't have a device yet, so you don't need to worry about that. But we also thought it worked really well to give students their supplies. And if you have a student who was in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade last year, hopefully that helped you. Our goal was to help remove that stress of running around and getting school supplies. So we used school funding to purchase school supplies for every student. And we also actually gave them backpacks last year, but they were clear backpacks and middle school kids did not think that was cool. So they were not wearing them. So this year we're not doing the clear backpacks, but we are doing a supply pouch for students. And I will show you a picture and a listing of what's going to be in that in just a moment. But supplies will be given out also within the first 3 days of school. We have a plan to get that out to students. We do have some backpacks through the Parent Center and just in our building. So if you are in a position where you need a backpack, we have some clear ones, and Mr. Doyne, you have some solid color ones too, right? Like
we
normal.
should be getting some shortly. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have some normal backpacks and we have some clear backpacks. So if you really need one, we don't have one for every student, but we do have some limited supplies of backpacks. Just reach out to Mr. Doyne in the Parent Center and we will make sure to reserve one for your child until we have no more. Okay. We also are asking that you update your contact information. You send us the best of the best. You send us your children, which, you know, that is the most precious thing that you can send to our building every day. And we try to take care of them. We want to take care of them. Sometimes there's a need to reach out to you to partner with you as we're taking care of them, whether there be an illness or an injury, or sometimes it's to share great news, like we're calling because they've earned a positive referral or did something really great that we want to share with you. But we want to make sure that we have great contact information. And sometimes it's really old, it's from the elementary school, and maybe you've changed numbers or you've moved. But for many reasons, we want you to make sure that you update your contact information. And I did put on here that at open house, they'll have an opportunity to verify that. Is that pretty much okay? So we will. I see a nod from Ms. Fertney. Okay, so at open house, you will have a chance to update that information. Please don't ignore it. Sometimes you just want to meet the teacher and get on out of there, but we're asking you to please, this one is really important so that we can get a hold of you to reach out if we have to or need to. All right, there's a picture of the supplies that your students will receive. So you can see it's the basics of what they'll need. If you want, you know, specially designed binder, or if they're in a class that needs a more advanced calculator, then those are things that you may need to purchase. But our teachers are aware that there is going to need to be some time for you to get that information and then get the resource. So don't worry about that right now. They will get what they need for the first few days of school. If there's something special for a course that's needed, that teacher will reach out to the student and the families. And in the newsletter, we will put a list. I know I said there's a list here, but it looks like it didn't make it into the slide. We will send a list of the items home. So that way you'll know what children are getting. Tech tips. So sometimes we have some boredom happening and it's taken out on the device that is assigned to students. And then what happens is that when we reach out, there's some confusion about, why are you calling me? This is not, you know, this is your Chromebook. But when we give students Chromebook, I mentioned in the first 3 days, we're going to reissue Chromebooks to students. It is their responsibility. If you think of it like when we assign textbooks or anything else that we assign to students, it is in their name in a database, and so it's under their care. Sometimes we see where it's loaned to a friend and the friend doesn't really care much about technology, so it's damaged, and then that child has to pay for that Chromebook. Or a moment of frustration happens and we kind of bang it down, and so now it doesn't work, and so we have to replace it. Or it's lost. So there's a variety of things that happen, but we do want to go ahead and start the year by letting families know that the child's Chromebook is his or her responsibility, and it does have to be replaced if it's lost or damaged. And we will, if it becomes a pattern, we've had, I think in one case, we've had 4 times that we had to replace it. In that case, we did remove that right to continue to get a Chromebook because it showed that we need to wait for that responsibility to be given to that child. So that does not happen often, but it does happen if it's a pattern. But Chromebooks, we're asking when they come home, please make sure that students are using them for school work only, that they're not doing searches of different things. They're not doing social media on them. They don't restrict, because I've had a parent ask, can't they just like restrict what websites they can go onto? And we did ask that question, but they cannot, because then they would not be able to get into websites that they need for school. So there's no way really to restrict the websites they can get onto, but it does keep that information. So if something does come up, it is stored in there. But our person who handles technology did tell me that there is no way for them to monitor what students are doing online. We only can know after they go on the website, what website they went on. So we are asking for help that if you notice that your student's doing some online activity, please monitor them. We will monitor them while they're here at school, to the best of our own ability. But when they go home with the device, just make sure you're monitoring them, what websites they're going on, that they're school related and related to the work that they have to do for school. Some families get a personal device that you can search around and make different social media posts, whatever you want to do on that. And that way the student is not going on the school device. But if you don't have that opportunity to do that, just make sure you're monitoring their activities online. Okay, all students will begin school with a first 21-day program. So we will spend the first 21 days getting students ready to be students. And what we noticed is that we were assuming for a long time that you just know how to do school and you should know how to do school. But what we realized is that if we are having these expectations, we have to help coach our students on how to engage in school the way that we want them to. And so the first 21 days, we'll be talking about SEL activities such as bullying and conflict resolution and the rules of school. We'll be going over the handbook and the rules of school. But we will also be talking about our PBIS program. We will be going over goal setting. So there's a lot of things that we're going to do to help set our students up for success. It seems to help based on the past couple of years that we've done this. It seems to help give them a good positive start to the year. But we definitely want you to talk to your students about it. We will send this calendar home so that you'll know what topics we talked about that day. And we welcome you to give us your feedback. If there's something that you think we should talk about that we haven't talked about, let us know. And that's something that we can put in rotation for years to come. All right, any LMS staff member, you can jump in if there's something not saying that we should say. Do we have any questions in the chat?
There are, Dr. Irish, pardon me, there are lots of questions.
Okay.
Mr. Khan's been doing a great job answering the questions. The 7th and 8th grade parents might start, some are probably here already, but some will probably start logging in just a few minutes just to let everybody know.
Okay. All right, so we'll roll right through this, and then maybe let's save questions for the end so that we can make sure our 6th grade families get what they need. All right, so the district is still focused on 2 things: supporting students' mental health and social emotional needs, and academics. Those are the only 2 things that we focus on, which really is everything: academics and students personally. We are still focused on the 4 E's, and I'm going to give you a hint. There's another clue. So if you haven't been keeping track, there's another one. So there is something that not many families know about, but it's been on the website with the district and it's been communicated out. So if you've not noticed it, we're bringing it to your attention because we will be focused on this school year with our students. In Gwinnett County, all students should, by the time they graduate, meet a certain profile that Gwinnett is referring to as the portrait of a graduate. So there's 6 skills or skill sets that our students should have. So we're going to spend all of our years with our 3 years with our students, working on these 6 skills. So our students should be having empathy, they should be critical thinkers, they should be able to communicate, adaptable to changes, they should be able to work together with others, and also resourceful, being able to solve their own problems and troubleshoot situations. And the thinking in Gwinnett is that these are life skills that any functioning, highly successful person will need to be able to do. And so we're going to be working with our students on that and starting with showing them this and talking to them about what it is. Not many of our students really know what it is. So we're going to spend time talking about that with our students, but we wanted to start with you and let you know. Here is promotion criteria. This is another slide that I would take a picture of with my phone. It is on the website and we do send it out to all families. These are the expectations that students have to meet to go to the next grade. So sometimes we don't worry about it until May or April, but by that point, the students are in the category they're in. And so we don't want to wait until April and May to worry about what the promotion criteria is. We want to think about that in July and August. So if you just go ahead and take a picture. And for the most part, 6th grade students have to have a 70 or higher in 5 of 6 subjects. And language arts and math are required subjects that they must pass. So when you're looking at the progress reports every 2 weeks, if you notice that math and language arts are below 70, then that is something that you definitely want to start reaching out, talk to your child, come up with a plan, make sure that they are aware, because a lot of students think they have more time than they have. So we want to make sure that we are paying attention to that. And grading is by the semester. So we want to make sure that we're looking at this from August until December, and then again from January until May. So that's how grading works in middle school, is by the semester. Here's our schedule. If you've not seen it before, you can take a picture with your phone. And there's a lot here, but that first part that says 6th grade really is what we need to worry about. That's the 6th grade schedule. So if you're just wondering what your child is doing at what time during the day, there's the schedule to show you. As you can see, the moment they arrive into school, there are activities that are happening. So that's why we encourage children to be on time, be there every day. They don't have a lot of time for instruction. They have about 50 minutes or so. And so missing a day of school really does mean a lot, because a lot happens in that 50 minutes. So we're encouraging children to be on time, follow their schedule, and make sure that they're aware of what's going on from day to day. All right, this is a pretty complicated slide. I don't expect you to figure this all out in this time that we have tonight. But again, you could take a picture with your phone. This is how students are graded. So in 6th grade, they'll have about 40% given to them for progress. That's like your daily work. 45% will be given to them in the grade book for tests, like, the heavier tests that they take. Then they also take an EOC or a final exam. There's something else that's called Gwinnett Writes. It's another writing test, but you're going to hear about all of these assessments and grading activities as they come up. But we just wanted you to know the big picture of how students are graded in middle school. And there's another clue. All right, so moving right along, there is a very special time in our day that's called ELT, Extended Learning Time. Y'all remember before we mentioned that we look at the data and we try to decide what children need, and we give them what they need according to what that information is telling us. So when do we do that? Like if we just mentioned that the day is busy and we're kind of moving along, the arrow is showing you when. So in 6th grade, ELT happens from 9:20 until 10:10. That's when we're working with all students on math on Monday and Tuesday and reading on Wednesday and Thursday. That's a really important time. We ask for them to be present every day for that time because we do collect data to make sure that our children are moving to grade level and beyond in reading and math. And so all children get this. Not many schools give 50 minutes. We give a long time for that, but we notice that there's a lot of positive changes that happened since we increased the time. And so it does seem like a long time, but it goes really fast. Okay, and then I mentioned the SEL moment, Mustang of the month. Encourage your kids to get in on the running. All kids can, in theory, all students can earn Mustang of the month. And so what we look for are those students who have A's and B's, and the counseling team does a great job of giving out. Some of them earn Chick-fil-A cards, some of them earn other treats. They all get a shout out. And so we're asking for you to encourage your children to look out for the Mustang of the month and to make sure that the academics allow them to be eligible for that. All right, I'm going to skip that because we talked about that. That's what I was telling you earlier. The ELT time, as you can see here, Monday and Tuesday is going to be a math support time. Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to be supporting reading. And then on Friday is PBIS. So we start shouting students out for their academic performance. And we also do an independent reading time so that students have time to just read, which we're hearing from parents, there really is no time to just read. So we give them that time on Fridays. Okay, so a mention about attendance from our attendance support counselor. She wants me, her name is Miss Nolert. And if your student was absent a certain number of days last year, she will reach out to introduce herself to you and come up with a support plan to make sure that there is a great year ahead for your child. But she wants me to tell all families that attendance is critical. And so we have to encourage our students to attend every day. If there's a reason that your child needs to be absent, make sure that there is a note that comes in because she works with families differently if there are unexcused absences versus excused absences. So there's many more things she asked me to tell you, but that's the most important part. Just make sure you send a note in if your child needs to be out. Okay, so here's how you will be communicated with this school year. We do have a need to have you activate Parent View and Parent Square. We will put things on the school calendar. If you're not linked into that, make sure you're linked into our school's calendar. Check the website probably on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Check emails one time a week because there's at least a newsletter that goes out one time a week, but we're asking you to check your email at least one time a week to make sure there's nothing in there from Loughborough Middle School. Turn on notifications for social media. We do put a lot of our activities on social media that you can know what to participate in, what to attend, what events are coming up. Now, this one is important. Go into your phone at some point, probably around after the first or second progress report, and make sure that our school is not blocked. We have had some savvy students who have figured out to go in and block our number from your phone. And they're really smart. Our kids are really smart technologically. So just go in and make sure that we're not blocked, that your number can freely accept Loughborough Middle School numbers. Also look out for our newsletter, conferences, school event, update your contact information, attend these monthly sessions, and volunteer. You're going to hear more about that in just a moment. All right, so I'm going to pass this over to Mr. Doyne. He has some updates to share with you from our Parent Center. So let me stop sharing. I need to stop sharing, or should I continue sharing?
Let's see. You can stop sharing.
Okay. All right, there you go.
But I will also say, since about, I think 30 or 40 people have joined in the last few minutes, the text message did go out to the 7th and 8th grade parents. I'll explain to them, even though many of them have had children with us in the past, I'll explain how to find the interpretation real quick, just again. So if you need interpretation in Spanish or Vietnamese, you'll find 3 dots on your screen where you can then find the globe. You find 3 dots on your screen and then select the globe and then interpretation, and then Spanish or Vietnamese, or you can just go straight to the globe that might be on your screen. Si necesita encontrar o escuchar esta reunión en español o vietnamita, solo necesita buscar el globo o los tres puntitos en su pantalla y después va a seleccionar español o vietnamita para escuchar esta reunión en su idioma preferida. All right, so and I think, let's see, I know we've got some other special guests also, and maybe I will go ahead and start with the PTSA. Dr. Arish, I've got, I think we've got
one
a couple of our
suggestion.
volunteers on the chat now. Let's see
Okay,
if
and
we-
Mr. Doyne, if you want to not cut anything out, because you got 6th, 7th, and 8th grade families here, you can just go ahead. We'll go through everything. And then what I'll do is allow the 6th grade families to sign off, and then I'll just go back through the beginning with the 7th and 8th grade. So that way you don't have to redo everything. You could just, everybody join in on this part, because this is
Okay.
relevant to everyone. And then we'll just go double back for the 7th and 8th grade family.
All right, well, so
Okay.
so that's great. So we have a Parent Teacher Student Association. That's the PTSA, and we've got a couple of our officers that have been on the meeting here. And I would like, I think it was Lesbia. I see Lesbia there. Lesbia, I'm going to unmute you here in a moment. And Lesbia does speak English and Spanish. So let's see. So, but everybody, Lesbia, will be listening in English on this channel. So, and she's doing a great job learning English, but I'm wondering if that's not the best option right now. I see Rafaela there too. Rafaela is one of our officers as well. So let's see. How about Rafaela? Rafaela, could I unmute you and just introduce yourself and say why you're part of the PTSA, and I'll do the same thing for Lesbia. Okay, so Rafaela is our secretary, our PTSA secretary, and I will go ahead and add you to the screen here.
Hola, mucho gusto a todos. Mi nombre es Rafaela. Este año empiezo a participar lo más activamente posible en el PTSA. Tenemos muchas metas este año, al igual que los profesores y la directora. Queremos trabajar en conjunto con todos los padres, desde nuestra perspectiva, la mía propia principalmente, con los padres latinos. Bienvenidos a todos los nuevos. Queremos estar presentes todo el tiempo con el desarrollo estudiantil de nuestros hijos, de todos los alumnos, apoyar a los maestros, apoyar a la directora, para que todos podamos llegar hasta ese 8º grado con las mejores notas.
Thank you, Rafaela. Do you want to try a little of that in English?
Okay, I will try. Okay, hi, hello, everybody. My name is. I speak a little bit in English, but I try. We will work in PTSA. We are too glad to start this year to new accomplish with the teachers, directors, and everyone here. We will try to do everything to get the meta. I don't know how to say that, sorry, but I try.
The goal, the meta, the goal.
The goal. Yes, we goal.
Thank you very much, Rafaela. And I think I saw Lesbia over here. This is our, let's see, Lesbia, where did you go? This is our secretary, our treasurer. So Lesbia, if you feel comfortable in English, great. If Spanish works for you, that's great too. If you could just introduce yourself and just explain why you wanted to help the school this year. And you should be able to unmute right now.
Hola, buenas tardes. No logré escuchar a Mr. Doy. Supongo que ya es el momento de hablar. Mucho gusto, soy Lesbia González. A diferencia de Rafaela, este va a ser mi segundo año en la Little Middle School. Estoy muy contenta de estar participando en la Asociación de Padres de Familia. Eh, ya tengo 2 hijos en la escuela y me parece y les invito a participar, principalmente a los latinos. Debemos estar acá en este espacio, ocupar la oportunidad que tenemos para estar conectados con los maestros, con los estudiantes, con la directora, sacar adelante este plan de estudio de este año y apoyar a nuestros hijos. Es la única forma que yo he encontrado en lo personal de estar conectada e informada de lo que mis hijos hacen, de los proyectos a los que ellos pueden optar, de los clubes a los que pueden optar, y importante para quienes van a salir de la middle school, también tener la información necesaria para entrar a la high school. El espacio de la Asociación de Padres, Estudiantes y maestros es importante también para conectarse. Les invito que el día de puertas abiertas todos los padres se puedan conectar. Vamos a estar ahí para ser miembros de la asociación. Solamente es tener la voluntad y pagar un costo simbólico de $8. Durante todo el año se hacen actividades en las que todos están invitados a participar como voluntarios. Les invito a que se unan a nosotros para que seamos ejemplos y que nuestros hijos también se conecten con la comunidad, que es importante. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Lesbia. And since this is the English channel, I did want to explain just a little bit of what you were saying. Lesbia is a parent. She has 2 children in our school. And she found that this is by volunteering as part of the PTSA, she's our treasurer. She found that this is a great way to support the school and also be involved with things going on at the school so she could better know what's going on with her students to be able to better support them. So thank you very much, Lesbia. And then it's just a great example. I see somebody asking, do you need to be able to speak English to volunteer? And I think Lesbia does speak English, but she's working on it. And I think she's a great example. Rafael is a great example where you do not have to be 100% fluent in English to participate. We just want you as much as you can help, even just your $8. And Lesbia correctly called it a symbolic $8. To even just your $8 membership does support the school. I do have Dr. Ayash, I do have that 1 minute and 20-second video that shows more of what PTSA does. Do you think that might help?
Trying to find my unmute. Yeah, you can do what you were intending to do. We're flipping it, so you're going first, and then I'll go after for the next group. So
Okay.
we're fine. We're just
All
all
right.
together, so we're
All right.
fine.
I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Okay, this is a video of the things that the PTSA accomplished this last year. And let's see, let me go ahead and share that. Okay, share. Your sound, okay. Okay. So that's some of what our parent volunteers did for us last year. And one of the phrases I like is many hands make light work. So if we all do our part, if we all pitch in, parents are really the X factor for our students. And even if it, like I said, even if it's just the $8 membership, or even if you help out just 1 hour during the whole school year, every little bit does help. So I did put the link for the PTSA in the chat. It's also in the email that I sent and the other messages that I sent, and it's on our website and various other places. So we look forward to having your support. Thank you, Rafael and Lesbia. I wonder if there's any other PTSA officers. I know our president, Matt, was in here, but he had a meeting to go to. And he's just really excited, I know, to help us out. Dr. Arish, I think you have the slide that I sent. I don't know if you'd be able to share the slide that I sent. Okay, thank you. So Dr. Irish did mention contact information. So I sent the information about this meeting various ways: email, Parent Square, text message today, and you should have received a phone call. If you did not receive an email, if you did not receive a phone call, a text message, or the Parent Square message, that means we need to figure out how to get your information updated, or perhaps you need to activate your Parent Square account. And in a little bit, if Dr. Irish doesn't mind, I'd like to have Rafaela share her screen so she can show us how to activate that Parent Square account, how to use Parent Square primarily. Also, a couple of things on the screen that is mentioned there. Dr. Irish referenced the weekly newsletter. So you will be getting a weekly message from the Parent Center with information about the school. We should have a skate night coming up soon. We do have a meeting specific towards our 8th grade and Gear Up families on August the 8th at 6 p.m. That will be on Zoom. You'll receive a reminder about that. Cross country is our running team, and I'm coaching cross country, so I wanted to put a plug in for that. We have a parent meeting of those students that want to be on our cross country team on Wednesday, August the 7th at 6 p.m. That's in person. For our Vietnamese families, we have a coffee with Dr. Irish on Thursday, August the 22nd. Our next Inform with Irish for all families will be on Tuesday, August the 27th. That will be on Zoom. Our Title I annual parent meeting will be coming up soon. Our Hispanic Heritage Month celebration will be on Thursday, September the 19th. So hopefully we'll have you all participate, whether you want to bring a typical dish or dress in something typical of your country if you are from one of the Latin countries. We mentioned the Family Academic Nights, formerly known as APTT, in September. My Payments Plus, I want to put the link in for My Payments Plus because we do would like for you to make any contributions you feel comfortable making to the school, and that's where you can make contributions to the school at My Payments Plus and other payments you might have to make for the school this year. Also, summer assignments. I know Ms. Fertney is here, but our summer assignments will be due that first week of school. The reading and math assignments, those were in the email, and we can probably put them in the chat here shortly. Those are the math and reading assignments due that first week of school. It will be your student's first grade of the school year. And we do have an expectation that your students are reading at home for at least 30 minutes every night, just to help improve their, increase their literacy skills. We did mention open house. We will continue with English classes for parents. So if you're interested in taking English classes for parents, please be on the lookout for an email to sign up for those classes. And I think now, Rafaela, are you ready to share your Parent Square page? Okay, so Dr. Irish, if you don't mind, thank you. And now I'm going to, so Rafaela, if you can go to your screen to share your screen, very good. And then we'll look for Parent Square. So this is the app that you can use to get messages from the school district, but also from your child's teachers And here's Parent Square there. If you don't have this downloaded already, you'll want to download Parent Square. And also it's how you can message your child's teachers. Many of you are coming from our elementary schools, and typically we do not use Class Dojo here, but we do use Parent Square. One of the great things about Parent Square is you can see her messages are in Spanish. You can choose to receive messages in Spanish, Vietnamese, and many other languages. The messages were initially sent in English, but you can see that they are translated. So these are all the messages she has received. If I could ask you to click on, Rafaela, the 3 lines. This is how you can get notifications for for the messages. Go down to Cuenta, which is account. And then click on notifications. And then where she has Instante, which is instant, or Resumir, which is summary. I recommend that you receive your messages Instante or instantly, because sometimes when they come as a summary at the end of the day, it's not real clear which messages were sent, in my opinion. It's up to you. And I also recommend that you receive notifications, text messages and application messages, just to make sure you're not missing anything. Again, that's going to be completely up to you. But I do think some of our families might be missing some messages based on what kind of notifications you have opted to receive. So thank you for that. Go back one screen, please, Rafaela, and click on Escuelas, schools, and then our school, please. And then go down to mensajes or messages. This is how to send a message. So go to the plus button, el símbolo más. Click on message, please, mensaje. Go to the más again, the plus. Go to buscar todos. And just type my name if you don't mind, D-O-Y-N-E. D-O, yeah. And enter. Okay, and so click the box. Go back a screen, please. And just go down and escribir un mensaje. Go to where you would write a message and just say hello. Okay, and that's and go ahead and mark C. Yes, and I'll get a message that way. And this will work for all of your teachers and other personnel in the school as well. So that's how to message. That's how to message your teachers. And I would like, I think that's good for Parent Square. And if anybody has questions about Parent Square, I'd love to answer them later on. But now I think a Parent View, if you don't mind sharing Parent View. This is how you can see your children's grades. So Parent View, the school district sent a message to all parents back in March, where all parents need to reset their password. If you've not done so, let's see if I can put a link in the chat where you can reset your password. Let me see. And this is how you'll be able to check your child's grades. You can see report cards, check attendance, discipline history, and here's the link for Parent View. It's also an app as well. All right, so here is Parent View. So she'll click on I am a parent. And that says Cobb County, so that might not be the right one. Yeah, that's a different link. If you want to click on the link that I put in the chat, Rafaela. And this is such an important app. I'm glad we're taking some time to do this. Because we would like you to log in on a weekly basis to see how your children are doing. And you can remember, I know we talked about the promotion criteria, but I also think it's not a bad idea to talk about honor roll. I think it's in everybody's capabilities to shoot for the goal of landing on the honor roll. And to be on the honor roll, your children need to achieve a score of 80% or higher in all of their grades. for the whole school year. And if they do land on the honor roll, you will be invited to a ceremony at the end of the year. So whether it's you're just shooting for those promotion criteria, or you really want your children to strive for that honor roll, we do want you to log in every week to see how your children are doing. So I think you already have an account, Rafaela. So that was just to, let's see. Here, this link will actually be to, so if you want to change your password, you can do that. I also put the link in the chat. I'm also putting the link in the chat for just to log in straight if you already have an account. Okay, so if you do this, this is how you're going to be able to reset your password. And I think, Rafael, maybe you can let me know once you've reset your password, or unless do you remember your password? I don't recall. You do. Okay, so if you don't mind going ahead and logging in there. And don't worry, it's not going to show our password. And you all at home can do this while she's working on it as well. And one thing about the app is the app typically is only available in English, but if you log into the website like we're doing right now, you will have the option to translate to other languages. All right, so here, and she's got children at 2 different schools. So if you don't mind, Rafael, clicking on Graciela's name there, and then click on Rania, which is your student here at Lilburn Middle School, and that's how to switch between grades. And go ahead and click on Documents. Just for example, we're not going to open your Rania's report card, but this is just where you can see where to find your children's report card back to when they started school in Gwinnett County Public Schools. So it could be back to kindergarten. If you could go back a screen, please. And if you can see at the bottom of the screen, if you wouldn't mind putting your arrow where it says Espanol, just move your, so if you wanted to switch, and you can go ahead and click it so people can see how that works. So it'll change to Espanol. So she's on a computer, so it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't show up in Spanish on every section there. But if you're on your phone, it will show in Spanish or Vietnamese, and I believe that's Korean as well. And then this is where you'll see your child's grade book. I also want to show you where you can find bus information. Scroll down to student information, please. Well, no, we don't want to do that. That'll have your personal information there. But on the student, please don't click on it because I don't want your phone numbers and everything there. But you'll click on student information, and that's where you can see lots of things, including your, but I mean, if you do it, it's up to you, but it'll have your phone number there. You can see your child's bus number, the bus stop, and everything like that. Also, I was told that the documents are now going to show up. The documents we used to have you sign off on will now be on Parent Square. I'm not sure. I just found that out today. I'm not sure where that is. Once I find that out, I will send that out to parents. Let's see. I think that's all I had about Parent View and Parent Square. Rafael, thank you so much for doing that. If we can allow you to stop sharing your screen, and then I'll return the program back to Dr. Irish.
All right, so hopefully you can see my slides. That was a lot of updates. But thank you, Mr. Doyne. As we mentioned, these are very informative sessions that we have. Today, we have a little bit of an overlap. And so what happened is that our 7th and 8th grade families arrived right on time. And so you heard the second half of our presentation, and we're going to double back to the beginning for our 7th and 8th grade families. 6th grade families, you've kind of come to the end of your program, but I do want to stop because I see another administrator who has just joined the call. Not just, she joined a little while ago. But Mrs. Cooks is actually one of 2 administrators that we have over 8th grade. Our 7th grade administrator is unable to be here today, but she wanted to be, she just has a conflict. So Mr. Brogdon and Mrs. Cooks will be leading 8th graders to success as they move on to the high school in May. But she is here. I want to just pause a second while I find my slides so that she can introduce herself to everyone.
Greetings, Mustang family. As Dr. Irish said, I am Angela Cooks, one of the administrators for 8th grade. So I look forward to supporting the 8th graders for this upcoming year with their final year of middle school. One of the things I will be supporting the students with towards the middle of this school year, which is going to be very important, is our transition to high school. I know we'll be talking about that real soon in January, but I will help with the students deciding on the high school that they will choose. We have 2 schools that we are feeder schools for. That's Meadow Creek High School as well as McClure. So we'll be doing that around the January timeframe, as well as starting to look at the courses that they will take and selecting courses for high school. So I look forward to that process. And please look out for information on that because it is an automated online program this year that will be doing those selections. So look out for information regarding the transition to high school. But I also support students in 8th grade if they're in the gifted program. I'm also the science AP as well as Title I. So several different things that I'll be supporting students with throughout the year. And I look forward to working with you all again as I help students through this final year of their middle school journey.
Awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Cooks. And the way we're doing this is that if you hear something that sparked a comment, just jump in. All right. So we're coming to the end of our presentation, 6th grade families. 7th and 8th grade families, you actually are getting a head start. So rather than repeat all of this, we're just doing the second half. And then we will go back and repeat the slides that you missed. So don't worry about anything that you may have missed. All right. So all families, student handbooks, we're asking you to have it read by August 16th. So before I go on to explain that, I do see another administrator that I think we may have missed you, Ms. Fowler. You can jump in and say hello.
Hi, sorry I'm late. I had to jump in with volleyball today. So, but I just wanted to say welcome to our school, our rising 6th graders, and welcome back for our 7th and 8th graders. I am the 6th grade assistant principal as well as the athletic director. As well as I help with different programs that we offer to help our students in academically, different interventions. So if you have any questions, please stop by. We're here for you and your student. And thank you.
Awesome. All right, and we'll talk a little bit about athletics later. It's an exciting year at Lilburn. We actually are getting many more sports than we've had in years past. So we'll tell you about that in just a moment. But the reason why we ask all students to read the handbook is because if you've ever played a game, it's impossible to win that game if you don't know the rules of the game. Well, you probably could win somehow, but it just is creating unnecessary stress. So we want all of our students to know the rules of the game of school by reading the handbook, understanding what we expect of them. We're very clear. We had a team of teachers work this past summer to make sure that our handbook is clear. We removed things that no longer are valid. We added things that make sense for now. So even if you have a student who has been through middle school, they're in 8th grade and they've already read the handbook last year, there are some changes. So we're asking you to read it this year as well. Okay, by August 16th, all students will need to have read the handbook, and we're going to ask parents and students to sign off that they have read the Lilburn Middle School Handbook and the Gwinnett County Public School Handbook. Our handbook may have things that are in addition to Gwinnett County, but nothing, it's going to be the same information, but we may have additional information that's specific to our school. All right, there are other sign-offs that are needed. Right now, we're using My Payment Plus. If there's any change on how the sign-offs are happening, we'll let you know, but right now we're using My Payment Plus sign off on all needed forms. Okay, so 6th grade families, before you leave, we wanted to share some tips that we have noticed helps our 6th graders to be successful. We want in our May Inform with Irish that all of you are back and your 6th graders are successful and they're going on to 7th grade without any issues. So what we notice is that these are things that 6th graders do that helps them to be successful as they move on to the next grade. So the first thing, and if you personally do not enjoy reading, we're going to ask you to get into character and to just embrace reading with your student, because reading really is going to be the key to unlock many doors for our students. That if they can read, think, and write, they can do anything they want to do, right? We know that some of our students go on to college. We know that some of our students go on to a trade school. Some of our students go on to be entrepreneurs and own their own business, but they got to be able to read, think, and write. And so that's what we encourage our students to do. If that's not something you're necessarily loving or in love, like to do, encourage your child to do it so that they can have those opportunities that are available. There are many opportunities that we try to present to our students so that they know they exist, but we do not want that to be a barrier for them. Then learn math from your child. We don't expect you to understand algebra or slopes unless you just happen to know how to do that. But you can set it up where your students do that. You can set up a space and time and expectation that they are plugging in to do their work. We are not expecting you to become great algebra students. We hear that a lot from families, that the math is just so hard. I don't know how to do that. You don't need to. All you need to do is be the parent by saying, this is time to do your math, do your math. And what I used to throw out to my students when they say, I bet you can't do this, I'll say, well, I've already been through school. And so I'll just say, it's your turn to do it. So don't worry about what I can do. But you can encourage them to do their work. But learn math from them. It is fun to watch them walk through the problems and explain. And by them teaching you how to do it, they actually become better students. So help your child to stay on track. We notice in middle school, it's very difficult sometimes to stay organized. We call it the black hole of a backpack, because when we open the backpack, there's papers in there from months ago that just like is crumpled up at the bottom with some tacky sauce on there, or, whatever. So we do ask you to facilitate that. Again, you do not have to do it, because I know we have very busy families. You don't have time to be like a middle school student all over again. But you can tell them it's time to go clean out your backpack, bring it to me when you're done, and then help them to set that time. Because if you're a successful person now as an adult, you know that you have to have some organization to your life. So this is something that we're trying to teach our children. Monitor homework. We don't necessarily put homework in the grade book anymore. We noticed that really was not helping our students the way we wanted it to be. But we do have times that teachers may ask things to be done at home. Just monitor and make sure that they are doing those things and that they're making it happen. And then I'm moving on to number 6, because number 5 is repeating, stay on track, be organized. It's the same idea. The next thing we're asking is to make sure that attendance is a priority. That just by showing up, there are so many opportunities that are available to our students that they cannot get if they're not here. So even if there are things that they're struggling with, we have resources that we can help them with. You remember earlier I talked about ELT and I talked about interventions and different programs to help students, because we look at the data and we decide, okay, this person needs some more support, and we design help for them. But one challenge that we have is that if we design a program for help and then the child is not here, then they cannot access what we do. So we're asking for all children to be making sure that attendance is a priority. Get to know your child's friends. This is really hard at the middle school level because they don't normally just forthright tell you this information. So you have to construct questions where you ask them, for names, ask them, you know, let me see a picture. What do they look like? Who are these people? You know, but get involved in their lives. You own the right. I'm a very few children that I know of in between grade 6 through 8 pay for their own phone. So it's technically your phone. So you own the right to go through it. You earn the right to look to see what's going on there. You earn the right to know who your friends are. And what I tell my children is that your business is my business. Sorry, you know, so I need to know like who you're associating with and who, you know, who you're getting involved with, so that you can help support them. And be in the know, you know, when your child leaves home, know where they're going, know who they're going with, what they're going to be doing, require them to check in with you. If they have a cell phone, then that helps with that process. If they don't, come up with a plan, make sure they're checking in with you. Monitor screen time. That sounds pretty old. We've heard that a lot, but the more time they're spending on the screen, the less time they're doing something else that they can be doing. And provide support. Even though you may not know how to do their actual work, at least help them, be a listening ear, or point them in the right direction of where they can go. All right, so that brings us to the end of our 6th grade presentation. 6th grade families, we want to give you a minute or so to ask any questions that may not have been answered. And then we're going to wish you a good night. And we're going to take our 7th and 8th grade families back to the beginning because there's a few more things that we need to tell them. So 6th grade families, do you have any questions or anything that was not answered in our presentation so far? And Mr. Khan and Mr. Doyne, I think you guys are looking at the chat to see if we have anyone typing questions in the chat.
I'm not seeing anything right now. I know Mr. Khan and also Ms. Purtney and probably others have been doing a great job keeping up with the questions.
Okay, perfect. This first round of Informed with Irish 6th grade families, you guys made it happen. And we are so glad that you were here tonight. This is going to be a great school year. Middle school is such an exciting time. I know it's very nerve-wracking to just, what will this bring? But if you do these tips that were on the screen and you reach out and you stay connected with school, your child's going to have an awesome year. But I do want to encourage you that you reach out frequently if there's anything that you're wondering about or concerned about. Ms. Fowler's on the call, Ms. Purtney's on the call. They are great resources for you. Even if they don't have the answer, they can connect you with someone who does. Do not hesitate to reach out. But thank you for coming to the first Informed with Irish for this school year. We will see you in just a couple of weeks for our next one. But make sure that you mark your calendar for July 31st, and we will see you at Open House 6th grade families. So those parents of 6th grade students, you can log off at this time. Have an awesome night. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. All right, so parents of 7th and 8th grade students, just bear with us. We are going to erase these artistic markings on the slides and go back up. There were some things about promotion criteria in our schedule that we just want to make sure that all of our parents know. Okay. All right. And if you were here for the whole thing, that you got turned around and maybe you attended all of 6th grade, then there's no new information that will be shared this time and you can log off. But if you missed the first half and you arrived at 6 o'clock, then stay on the call and we're going to share some information with you. Okay, so we're about half logged off. So I'm thinking we're all 7th and 8th grade parents. All right, so let's start by doing a warm welcome. Normally we do this in the beginning, but 6th grade parents had a chance to do this and we want to give our 7th and 8th grade parents a chance to do this as well. We are asking you to grab a piece of paper, or you can draft a text message to your 7th and or 8th grade student. But we want you to write a short note to your child, encouraging them to have the best year possible from your own words. And so I wrote a note to the 6th and 7th grade APs. Or 6th grade APs. I'm gonna write a note to the 8th grade APs who are on this call tonight and give you about 1.5 minutes to write a note to your children to have a great year this year. Okay, so here is my note. I wrote my note to Mr. Brogdon and to Mrs. Cooks. They are the 8th grade APs. And I know you're writing notes to your children. I don't have an 8th grade. Well, I will have an 8th grade child, but not at Lilburn Middle School. So I'm going to write a note to my 8th graders at Lilburn, and that's the 8th grade APs. Okay. And so, dear Mrs. Cooks and Mr. Brogdon, I believe in you. And you're going to have a great year this year. I look forward to the way that you're going to lead our students to successful promotion to high school. Love, Dr. Irish. And so that's a really short, quick note. And I just wanted to model for you how easy it is. Now, our middle school children will act like they are too cool for notes from mom or dad or a family member, but inside they love it. They really love the praise and appreciation. So if you can get out a sheet of paper, if you did not have a chance to do that, you can spend time writing your note. Some of you guys like technology, you can text them and just let them know what you think about the year they're going to have. Okay, I shared this with our 6th grade families that we are welcoming you back to a new school year. And the theme this year, because as you know, we've had a theme every year. Last year was the greatness within. This year, our theme is impact. So we are going to be diving into getting our students involved with at least one club or activity. We are going to be looking at community service as an impact to our community of Lilburn. We are looking at our impact as a Mustang on those around us and our own selves. So just know that that's our theme. You can, a lot of parents throw that out sometimes, like, what impact are you having? But we want to make sure that you are in the loop because you are a part of the team. So our theme this year is impact. Okay, so we played a game with 6th graders. If you were on this call, you probably already have the clues. And so we're going to ask you not to spoil it for everyone and just hang on to it. And I forgot that we did not check it with the 6th grade family. So we'll have to do it next time. But we will play this game with 7th and 8th grade families. And as we go through the slides, there will be a letter associated with the lock that you see on the screen. And that is a clue that's part of the code word. So when you have all the letters, it's going to spell something that I'm going to ask you, what does it spell? And if you spelled it correctly, then that means that you figured out the clue. If you're missing letters, then you're not going to be able to have the right word. So you'll have to pay attention to the slides so that you can get all of the letters in the right order. Okay, so first we want to start out by talking about what the school year will look like, things that we will have available to all students, and opportunities for you to get involved. So first of all, we will have intervention classes that we will offer a variety of students. It used to be that you had to really be struggling to get any help. But right now, actually since last year, intervention classes are offered to any student that is not at or above grade level. So we have the opportunity to offer intervention classes to many more students. We also have the opportunity to offer intervention strategies during class. So we're doing a lot of things to help make sure that our students are moving forward. The data is telling us that it's working. We have moved students on with their reading levels, and we've also been able to successfully promote many students. Okay. We also offer tutoring that a lot of students can take advantage of. We wish that we can see a higher number take advantage this year. It is a free opportunity to receive direct instruction from a certified teacher free of charge. So if you're like me and you've paid for private tutoring for your child, you know that it is very, very, very expensive to do that. So at Loughborough Middle School, students just need to show up and have questions or things that you need to work on. And we offer tutoring. And there is a schedule that we'll send out through the parent newsletter that will tell you what tutoring is offered on what day. Or Ms. Fertney or Mr. Doyne, if you guys know the rotation, you can put it in the chat for our families. We do have morning meetings that we call SEL Moment. That's where we talk to our students about character development. We do know that children don't just learn academics, that they're citizens. And so we're trying to help them to be the best citizens that they can be by talking about topics that are important to them, to us, to the community. So we may talk about bullying, we may talk about being safe on the internet, we may talk about vaping, we may talk about goal setting and academics. We have a variety of topics. Sometimes we'll ask our students what's going on and then hear from them and then come up with topics related to what they're worried about. But we spend the first about 20 minutes of every school day having what we call the SEL Moment, where we work through these topics. Our students will be having opportunities to participate in various clubs and activities. These are enrichment activities that are not necessarily focused on the academics. These are important. And so that's why we're asking every child to participate in at least one. The last round with the last group of parents, we had Mr. Doyne unmute and say why it was important. And Mr. Doyne, that was a perfect answer. Can you repeat what you said about why it's important, why we are so determined to have every child participate in at least one club or one activity?
Yes, Dr. Irish, thank you for asking. And I guess I'll put my video back on. And while I do that, I think maybe you want to share your screen as well, Dr. Irish. Mr.
Okay.
Khan was checking with me about that.
Okay. I thought it was being shared. I'm not sure what I'm sharing then. Let me try again. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am. So,
Okay.
and I'll say this in a slightly different way. I'll answer it in a little slightly different way. Motivation to me is pretty much the secret to success at school. If students are motivated, there's nothing that can stand in their way. So I think one way that students can become motivated is by joining clubs and activities, because students will then find a greater connection at school if they are part of a club or activity. And when they feel more connected at school, they're motivated to do better at school. So students that participate feel more connected and end up doing better in their classes as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's well said. And that's what we hope, is that they will find something that they can continue to build upon, an interest area that maybe they didn't even realize they had. We do sometimes have to encourage some students to find something. Sometimes you ask them and they say, there's nothing, I'm not interested in anything. But we have over 30 different options, and we will have 5 different athletics. So there's something for everyone, but we may just need to help them find it. All right, and I'm going to go back because you could not see. I apologize. I thought my screen was being shared, but that lock, and then there'll be a letter near it. That's how you're going to find the clues for the game. I apologize that you couldn't see that before. All right, so Ms. Fertney, can you talk about open house for a little bit?
Okay, guys, I'm so excited about open house this year. We are so excited to meet you guys, meet your families, meet students. Open house is a great opportunity to come out and get to know the teachers, become familiar with the school, find your classrooms, receive great information about organizations that are here to support your students. And then also students can sign up for clubs and receive information about sports and activities that we'll have available this year. So open house is a great opportunity to come out and just get ready before the school year starts. So if you look at the screen, our open house is the 31st of July. And we have a pretty organized process, okay? So if you can help us, that will help the event go smoothly. So if you look at the screen, we have it organized by last name, okay? So you want to think about what your last name starts with, and then you want to come at the time assigned to that letter, okay? So my last name starts with F, so I would look for, let's see, E. F is between E and L, And so I would come between 10:45 and 11:45. So just check out your last name and come according to what your last name is. Now, if you have several students here at Lilburn Middle School or several students in your house and you need to come at different times, just choose the time that works best for you, okay? Let's see, so you will have an opportunity to take a family picture at our photo booth. And it's just a great opportunity to come out and get to know us a little bit before the school year starts, okay? Now, some of you are asking about school supplies, so I'll just go ahead and kind of mention that. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I was just going to talk about that. But at open house, you will get a list, a reminder of what school supplies the kids will be offered. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. Okay, also during open house, we're asking you to complete some important documents. And so on the next slide, there will be a QR code that you can scan to complete your free and reduced lunch form. Even if you've never filled one out before, or you're not sure if you would qualify, please just fill it out just in case, because there's no reason to pay for lunch if you don't have to. So that's something that we can do at open house. So yes, please make every, try to come to open house. Okay, make every effort to be there. Also, to help prepare you. Now, some of you I saw in the chat, I'm very excited, Dr. Irish. Some of the letters have already arrived. Okay, so very excited about that. I was a little worried. Okay, so you either already received or you will be receiving an open house letter. Okay, now this letter is just saying welcome. It's a nice little message from Dr. Irish. And then on the bottom of the letter, you will find your student's name and their homeroom teacher, as well as a color. Okay, there'll be a little sticker on the letter. It'll be a purple sticker, a red sticker, an orange sticker. Each person gets a color, okay? Now that will help you find your teacher's classroom when you get here. So we are asking that you please bring the open house letter with you. If you forget it, it's okay, we'll help you. But if you have it with you, that'll quickly help you get to your classroom, okay? So the open house letter is important. Please try to bring it to open house. It has your student's teacher and the color for their team. But yeah, so we're super excited. I'm working hard to make sure this is a great event. So please come on out, join us, and we can kickstart this year. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Fertney. And so there are cluster dates. Can you talk about if they have more than one last name for their children or other levels like elementary or high?
Yes, so if you have students in elementary school and you're going to be at the elementary school during the time that it says you need to come to middle school, that's okay. We'll work with you. You just get on over here when you can. Okay, so make sure you can go to both your students, whether it's elementary school, high school, middle school. And if there's a conflict, you just come on over here. Okay, and we'll take care of you. I feel like there was one more thing. I forget if I remember.
Last name, just choose the best time.
Yes, choose the best time for last name if you have multiple students in the household. We'll work with you. Just come on over.
Thank you, Ms. Fertney. Okay, so the best way to use this slide is to take a picture. We do have some important events that are coming up. So the first date is that we're asking for all online forms to be completed by September 16th. The only exception is the student handbook. We're asking that to be signed off on by August 16th. But the other forms, My Payment Plus forms, lunch forms, PTSA sign up by September 16th. And then there is another event that you may have remembered being called last year, APTT. This year, it's actually going to be called the Family Academic Night. And those dates are listed there on the screen. But the first round is going to happen on September 25th and 6th. So we're asking you to mark your calendar. These are in place of curriculum night. So all families should plan to be here. We actually are doing a lot of behind the scenes organization to make sure that every family has what they need. So we're planning for every family to be here, and we would like you to be here. September 12th is the first progress report that will be sent home. And it helped when we all know, so students, teachers, and parent knows of the dates, because sometimes our students forget. And so it really helps if, as the parent, you say, hey, I heard progress reports are coming home. And then you can look at it just to make sure it looks like it is on track. Lunch dates. This is what you heard Mrs. Fertney or Ms. Fertney referring to earlier. That QR code, you can actually work on that right now as we're presenting. You can scan it with your phone. It's going to bring up a lunch application. It is open. we ask that all Lilburn families complete this form. We do have some families that are automatically eligible because you're receiving support from an outside agency. We don't necessarily know who those families are on the front end. So we're asking all of our families to just go ahead and fill this form out. If you're already eligible, we will let you know. But again, we don't know that until later. So we're just asking for everyone to go ahead and fill it out. So lunch prices have gone up. They're going to be 25 cents higher than what they were last year. So breakfast will now be $1.75 and lunch will be $2.75. So it's more of an incentive and motivation to go ahead and fill the form out, because if you wait, then on September 16th, full charges will go out. Your child will receive whatever they received last year up until September 15th. On September 16th, they'll start getting charged. So that does add up very fast or quickly. And so we want to make sure that you're not in that situation if you don't have to be. The online application is available. I think it was in the chat. I don't know if parents joined after, if they can get to that link. So we may need to put it back in there, but it's in the chat and it's also on the screen. Students will get devices the first 3 days of school. So if you recall, we collected everyone's device. We're going to give them back out. It will take us up until that Friday to make sure that all students have a device. If they happen to be absent and they arrive on the Monday, whenever they do arrive, we will make sure they have a device. But full-on distribution is going to happen on the Thursday and Friday of the first week of school. We also are going to be giving out supplies, and I'll show you a picture of what that will look like. You don't need to worry about buying notebooks, pens, paper. Like we're giving them the basic supplies that they will need to start school. There will be some specialized supplies that may be needed, but just wait until you receive the syllabus from your child's teacher to find out if anything additional is needed. We don't want you wasting time or money buying things that may not be used. So we also do have a few backpacks. We do sometimes have students who need a backpack from the school. Last year, we gave every child a clear backpack, and some of our students never wore it. They just didn't like it. They didn't care for it too much. So we're not giving every student a backpack, but if you need a backpack, we do have one. You just need to ask us and we can get it to you. Just reach out to Mr. Doyne in the Parent Center, and we do have some solid and we do have some clear. We don't have one for every student, so it will be first come, first serve. And if we run out and you need one, we will get one. We'll make sure we get one. Okay, so that is a picture of what will be in their supply kit. You'll see that all of the basics are there. If you want your student to have a binder, or if they need a binder, if their team of teachers or one of their classroom teachers say they need a binder, that will not be provided to them. But again, if there is something you need help with, reach out to us and we can work with you to see if we can get it for you. Tech tip. So all students will receive a device. We're asking for you to help us with this. We noticed that there's been some times where some students forget that this is a resource that is going to help you to do well in school. But it's also their responsibility. So it's signed out to your child. So think of it like a textbook, their cell phone, it's theirs, because we're going to put it in the system under their name. So they shouldn't be loaning their device to anyone, letting others use their device, because whatever happens to it is their responsibility. There are fines that we do charge if devices are damaged or if they're lost. And we can remove the right to have a device if we notice a pattern. I think the most extreme situation was that we had one person at 4 different times we had to replace it. And by the 4th time, we made a decision that there's no more. There's no more device. So we want to make sure that this privilege continues to be offered. So just make sure that you're encouraging your child to respect, take care of their device, and so on and so forth. And most of our students do, they turn their device in and it was in great shape. And so we know that they can handle that responsibility. So speaking of responsibility, We are able, while in the classroom, to make sure that we are working on academically related things, that academic approved websites are being used. But when students go home and they're off campus, we have no control over what sites they visit. So we did have a parent ask, well, can't you limit the websites? Unfortunately, we did check on that, and there really is no way to do that, because if we limit the websites, then they will not be able to get to things that they need for school while in school. So they do have access. So we're asking that just to make sure that you're monitoring what students are doing on their Chromebook, make sure that you're proactively monitoring if they're working on an assignment, that they're going on school-related websites to get that done. There's no social media that we would ever ask students to be on their device. There's no inappropriate websites that we would ever ask students to be on. So just know that you can use your judgment at home, and if you feel uncomfortable with what they're on, you can confiscate the device and work with the teacher to find out what's going on with what website they were on. But we do need your help, because we will monitor as much as we realistically can at school, but we do need your help while they're at home. All right, first 21 days, we're setting our students up for success by making sure that they understand how to be the best student they can be. For the first 21 days, we are going to be talking about some pretty important topics like goal setting, conflict resolution, PBIS pride. We're a PBIS school, so we're going to talk about what it means to be positive, respectful, have integrity, be determined, and be engaged. But we're also going over the student handbook. So by the end of all of this is why on the 16th, they will sign off that they understand what's in the handbook, is that you will read it with them at home and we will review it with them at school. So by the 16th, they will have all of this information, and we will be ready as of the day after Labor Day to go to the normal school day. We're jumping into the normal school day on the day after Labor Day. But before that, there will be some important topics embedded into their instructional work. A question came up from a parent, so they're not going to be taught anything until Labor Day. No, they will be taught things, but a portion of our day will be devoted to some other topics. So I just wanted to let you know that, and we'll send the calendar of topics out so you know what we're talking about. Okay, and so did I miss a clue? Nope, there's the next clue for those who are keeping up with it. We will send this home. This is a lot to go over tonight, so we're not going over all of that, but just want you to know that as a school, we do have some goals that we have that we're working with the district. And these are the goals that help us to guide the school to success. So we're going to be working with all of our students on their part in these goals, and we will share this with you so that you can look at it more closely at another time. I know this is a lot to look at tonight. How many people have heard of the Portrait of a Graduate? This is something that's coming from the district. Some families know all about it, and some have never heard of it before. We're going to make sure that all of our students know what this is. The Portrait of the Graduate is basically what all of our students should be able to know and do by the time they graduate high school. So this is the district's way of being accountable to our students, that if you're a Gwinnett graduate, you should have all of these skills. So on the screen are the 6 skills that they are saying students should have. And we will do our part at Lilburn Middle School to make sure that they're able to do all of these things, so that they're empathetic, critical thinkers, able to communicate, flexible and adaptable, able to work together in groups, and that they are problem solvers. So you'll hear a lot more about the Portrait of a Graduate this year. And we're going to start by talking to our students about what this is and what it means for them. Okay, another photo opportunity. If you can get your phone out, take a picture of this screen. These are the promotion criteria for 7th and 8th grade students. So for students to earn promotion to 8th grade and for 8th graders to earn promotion to high school, these are the things that have to be done. I know during COVID, there was a lot of flexibility. Students had to try their best. And then we looked at how hard they try their best. But now we are starting to look at the quality of work. We're starting to look at if they're mastering the grade level work. And we're doing a lot to help them to get there. but students are held accountable to the promotion criteria. And we just want you to know. We realize that waiting until the end of school to figure this out is too late. So we want all families to see and know this in the beginning so that you can know if your child is on track or not. But 70 is the magic number. If you are looking at progress reports, which I'm hoping and I trust that you will, if you see any scores below 70, those are red flags. That means that the grade for that course is below passing. So 70 or higher is what we're looking for a passing grade. Another photo opportunity, you can take a picture of our daily schedule and it looks like a lot, but if you find your child's grade level and then look downward, you'll see where they are throughout the day for their grade. Okay, and I'll pause 3, 2, 1 for a picture. Okay, this one is a really complicated slide, but I just wanted you to know there are different categories that we grade students within, but it just goes to show you that all grades matter and that we really need our students to stay on top of their grades right from the beginning of the school year because they're pretty heavily graded in both of all of the categories. So just don't worry about memorizing this, but just know that there are different categories that we grade our students in and all grades count. And we really want to make sure we take advantage of every opportunity. Okay, so ELT, we talked about supporting students right from the start of the school day. ELT is when we do that and how we do that. So on the screen is showing you the 8th grade time for ELT. That's between 9:20 and 10:10, and that actually is the same for 7th grade as well. So during ELT, we are working on reading and math, and I'm going to jump over to the ELT slide so you can see that. Monday and Tuesday, we are focused on supporting math. Wednesday and Thursday, we are supporting reading. And then when we have our family and academic nights, we're going to show you their progress in reading. Okay, so just know that a lot of this happens during the school day, but there will be opportunities to practice at night at home. Okay, attendance. We have an attendance office. Those who have worked with Ms. Nollert and or Ms. Kroll, you know that attendance is a very important part of our school day because showing up is the first step to success. So Ms. Nollert asked me to say a lot of reminders, but she boiled it down to 2 very important points. That attendance is critical, and we want to encourage our students to be at school and on time every day. But she also wants you to know that if for any reason your child needs to be absent from school, send in an absent note so that we can mark that absence as excused. So word of mouth from your child cannot count, but we do need a note so that we can mark them absent from you, handwritten and signed from you. These are the ways that we will communicate with you, and then we're going to actually have an opportunity to make sure that you can access these different ways. But we will communicate through Parent View. You can go onto Parent View and see your child's information. Parent Square, we will send notices, memos, sometimes letters through Parent Square. We're asking you to link into our school calendar so that you can see the events that are happening. Check the calendar weekly so that you know what's going on for that week. We're also asking you to check our website because we do put updates on our website at times. But the most important thing, and that's why it's all capitalized, is to make sure that you are checking your emails. We do send out through the Parent Center, we send out a weekly email with all of the highlights that we have for our school. We also send other just-in-time important information through email. So email is really important. If you don't have a current email address on file, you want to get that to us as soon as possible. Usually if a parent misses information, it's because their email is not being checked or the email address is not current. So make sure that that is accurate. Turn on notifications for social media. We put posts out. I know Mr. Doyne through the Parent Center updates social media quite frequently with events, highlights, activities, or celebrations. If you're not getting those notifications, you may miss a lot of information that's coming out. So turn on your notifications. Make sure that your number is not blocked. Through conversation with some of our savvy middle schoolers, we realized that they figured out how to block our number. And so if they, have done that, you can unblock us, but just make sure that we are not blocked so that if we call you or reach out, the call will go through. Our newsletter is chock full of information, so you want to be checking that. Attend conferences when they come up. Come to the school event so that you can get the feel for our school climate and culture. And again, update your contact information. Open house would be a great opportunity to do that and make sure that it is accurate. Make sure that all of those people that you want us to be communicating with are included in that so that we can reach out to those that need the information. Attend these sessions. Inform with Irish Today is really just overview of the year, but every month we're going to talk about what's happening that month. So you want to attend the Inform with Irish sessions that we'll have and volunteer and get involved. We noticed a pattern that our parent volunteers, children, do better in school. And we think it's because of two things. We think it's because your presence matters and that when you're there, it makes a difference, but also because you're able to guide your student because you're right front line and center getting the information as a volunteer. So volunteer, get involved. If you don't speak English, that's fine. If you're bilingual, that's fine. If you don't feel like you have many special skills, that's fine. We'll take just your presence. So just volunteer and get involved. All right, so Mr. Doyne, I know you went through your update. I don't know if you need to repeat anything or redo anything. I don't know who was on the call. You may want to ask who heard it.
The one thing I didn't share was my phone number. I share my my Google Voice phone number with everybody. So I'm going to put that in the chat and then they can save that number. And I prefer text messages, but if they want to call, that's of course fine too. So I'll just do that. And that's all I had for additionally right now.
Okay, well, I think that we have gone through everything because we went through the second half of this presentation. Now is the time that we all worked hard for. So I want to know if we have a winner, and we're going to do this bingo style. So whoever unmutes and says who you are first, we'll take it. But I will ask you for the word, the code word that unlocks the prize. So if you don't have the correct word, then we'll move on to the next person. So do we have a winner? Do we have anyone that figured out what the code word is?
So we have Moises in the chat that said Mustang.
Okay, so we have a winner. Moises, let us know the name of your student so that what we normally do for those who are new to this format is that when we announce the winner, we hand the prize to your child for several reasons. Because it's easier for you, you're working hard and you don't necessarily have time to come pick the prize up. But we love watching when we hand the prize to your child and they get all excited and then we're like, sorry, that's for your parent. So that's a really fun thing. But Moises, if you can put your child's name in the chat, we would record that and have that ready for them. First day of school, we'll hand it to them and they'll bring the prize home to you. And do we have a second person right behind Moises? We can do three if we have three in order.
Okay, I'm writing these down. Let's see. So Natalie's, okay, so the second one after Moises was Jose Hernandez.
Yay, congratulations, Jose.
Okay, I'll get his child's name. And then the next one was iPhone. I don't know who that is, but I'm going to reach out to them. And if they can give me a student name, then let's see. Okay, and then iPhone. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Jose Hernandez, yeah, he's second place.
Yay.
Let's see, I just need to know their students' names, but I'll get them.
And parents, part of our culture is that whoever wins, whether you win or someone else wins, we get so excited for them. Like even if we're not taking home the prize, we get excited. So we're going to be excited for Moises, excited for, who was the second person?
It was Jose Hernandez.
Jose, and then excited for the iPhone. So we're excited for the winners. And every month you will have a chance to win something. Okay, so we do know that we're modeling this for our students, that the first sign to winning is showing up. So by showing up, then we will offer those opportunities. All right, so I'm looking at the time. We commit to 1 hour of your time per month, and we try not to hold you longer than that because we know you have a lot to do and you're busy people. So we are at the end of our presentation, but we will stay online to answer any additional questions that we have. If you have no questions, I, on behalf of the admin team and the support staff and the teaching staff at Lilburn, thank you for being here for our first session. And we look forward to seeing you next month. And we look forward to seeing you at open house and when you volunteer this year and join the PTSA. There's a lot. But we look forward to seeing you this year. We're so excited. And you can log off if you have no questions. And if you do have questions, we are here for just a little bit longer and we can help answer those questions. Oh, and let's thank our translators. We have Miss Nee. It looks like part of her name is cut off. Is it Miss Nguyen? I can see you, but I can't really hear. I can't hear you yet. But we do have 2 translators who are here. If you guys can unmute just for a moment.
They're still in their interpretation.
They're still in their rooms.
In their
But
channels.
let's thank our translators. It's a tough job repeating everything someone else says. But we do want to make sure that all of our families can fully participate. So we do thank them for providing the service for us. And they did a phenomenal job. So thank you for being here. All right. And if you have no further questions, we want to wish you a great night. One last tradition that we have is that we typically take one volunteer to help count us down. I have somebody in mind. It's the new kid on the block. I'm going to choose him to count us out. And we do this because we all like spending time together. And what we found is that no one wanted to hang up. We just would sit there for hours. And so by having a brave parent or staff member count us out, it gives us the courage to say goodnight. So Mr. Brogdon, this is your first one. We're going to ask you to count us out of this session. And those who have no questions are welcome to sign off at that time.
And I did just unmute everybody, or allow people to unmute.
All right, so starting from 3. So 3,
Oh,
2.
no, we go from 10. We go from 10. I'm sorry, I should have said that.
10? Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yay. Adios, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night.
Good night. See you next time.
Good night.
Adios.
Adiós.
Thanks, Mr. Brogdon.
And I also will say thank you to the interpreters.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
They did a phenomenal job.
All right. So we officially ended. So I guess I got to follow Mr. Brogdon's instruction too.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. Okay.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.